Good evening to everybody. First of all, greetings to everybody, and a special thanks to Professor Lisa Spigarelli that wanted to invite me to attend this seminar. Unfortunately, I can't be there. I'm here in Beijing, but it's a pleasure for me to attend and to bring sort of witness to the seminar. I mean, the topic you discussed today, and all of them appear to be very interesting. And of course, talking about elders, I understand that China is a key point that could create interest to people studying what's happening around the elders in the world. Before talking about elders, I just comment and put in perspective the situation of elders and in general of the social dynamics here in China. As you know, China is 450 million people, 1/4 of the worldwide population. Till, let's say, 30 years ago, 80% of people lived in the rural areas, 20% in urban areas. Over the next 20 years, the government goal is to transform and to reverse this ratio. They expect to achieve 75% of population in the urban areas and 25% in the rural areas. Of course, it means from now on about 350 million people that will be urbanized. Urbanized doesn't mean necessarily to be relocated in the bigger city. It will happen for about 35% of this figure, but the most and the biggest phenomenon will be the urbanization of the rural areas. So to cover the gap between the rural areas and urban areas in terms of services, quality of life, life expectancy, coverage of social security, etc. This will imply, from one hand, a huge problem in urban management, since the cities will continue to grow and there will be more and more mega cities in China. There will be about 16 cities with more than 15 million people by 2030. And this, of course, implies a huge problem in managing the social dynamics in the big cities. But on the other hand, also would face great challenges in the rural areas that will see the essence of the life totally changed, including, of course, the elders. If we put in perspective this urbanization process with another process related to economics, to the growth that China witnessed over the past 20 years, and with the growth in terms of GDP, that is, is the parameter we typically used. This growth has implied many things, among them the improvement of life, of quality of life, and of course of life expectancy, that together with a dramatic decrease of infant mortality has brought the average life expectancy in China to about 78 years today. We have calculated that over the next 15-20 years, China life expectancy will reach the OECD countries' life expectancy. That is about 80-81. Depends on there is a difference between women and men. But China will cover the gap fairly easily. And covering this gap for a country of 1.5 billion, 500 million people, is a huge effort. This what implies in terms of social dynamics. Of course, we go directly to the elders. The elder situation and the incidence of the elders in the Chinese society, of course, is increasing dramatically. Also, for the one-child policy that the government imposed decades ago for keeping and controlling the growth of population, that has been effective in many sense, but has created an unbalance in terms and I would say a revolution in terms of the social dynamics, where the community, both in the urban areas and in rural areas, and the family, were and still are the pillars of the social organization in China. The one-child policy, together with the increase of life expectancy, has produced, and together with the urbanization that from time to time brings the sons or the daughters out and far from the parents' houses, is creating a mass of elders alone with very poor elders care management so far. If we couple this with also an economic dynamic related to the agriculture reform that now is pushing for rationalizing and aggregating the lands, so that the governments, local government, are expropriating the lands to the peasants for aggregating and improving the productivity of agriculture. This means that typically these elders will become very rich in a short period of time, but they don't know anything about what not to be peasants. Uh, if you go in some tier 4 cities, you can find in these peripheries a plethora of 50, 70 years old people that have become rich from night to day, and they spend their time in drinking. That's a significant social problem that the governments are trying to tackle in through a different way of rewarding the land expropriation to the family. So elder care is something that is going to introduce a revolution in the social organization. Of course, healthcare is a sector that is going to be reformed dramatically and is going to be a priority in the 13th five-year plan that it will be approved in March. And healthcare is, of course, related to the elders, but is related to the general population in a broader sense, provided that the quality of life and the style of life has changed dramatically. China now is facing diseases and pathologies that were almost unknown till 20 years ago. Diabetes is becoming a priority. Cardiovascular diseases and pathologies are becoming a priority, and cardiovascular and cardio related pathologies become the number one cause of death before cancer. Also, cancer was almost unknown till 30 years ago because the life expectancy was pretty short. Today is very clear. The incidence is very close to the OECD country, and in some areas even higher due to pollution of air, of soil, and of water. This, of course, involves also the elders that have to be treated not necessarily for their pathologies, but mainly for the managing and accompanying their life for improving their quality of life, provided that the community and the family has got disgregated. So, just for getting to a conclusion, and unfortunately with a very short period of time, we cannot go in detail in some aspects. For Italy, that is renowned for being a country where the quality of life, the quality of life is one of the best in the world. The life expectancy is one of the longest in the world, probably the longest after Japan. The quality of life also of elders is believed to be extremely high compared to the one of many other countries. So Italy can bring a huge know-how not only know-how, but also machinery, but also practices, also processes, also medicines, also machinery, medical machinery, and anything that could be related to accompanying this huge process. The problem is not if all these dynamics create opportunities. The opportunities are everywhere, and we catch them every single second. The problem or the opportunity is how to catch these opportunities. It's possible to catch, and the companies, even hospitals, we're assisting here in China to enter in China, if they approach the market entry in the proper way, they will be necessarily successful. So I invite everybody to think of China as a world of opportunities, a world where to bring know-how and to start business, but also a world where we can learn a lot, since, and everybody knows that what's happening in China is something that humanity, in the history of humanity, never happened. So what's happening here is the first time in the history that we can witness, and living these huge dynamics and transformation is very exciting, and for sure will affect the rest of the world over the next year. I've concluded. Sorry for having taken some minutes more than what was assigned. I thanks again everybody for the attention, and I hope to be able soon to be in Macerata physically to bring another witnessing of my experience here in China. Thank you very much. Have a good evening. Bye.